The Nebraska Sims we could just pull off,
Right.
but the questions she has given.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
So we are here with second time with Olenka Pikic,
Close enough.
close enough. Mike Masuda, close enough. Rick Francisco, that's more like me, and Celso Batalha. This is the meeting of the physics department, and that's being taped. And there you go. So we had a meeting previously with the Norton representative. What's her name?
Syed.
Sayeda.
Yeah.
And then she gave a demonstration which goes in the previous file. It was taped too, so it's going to be sent to everyone. So take a look there and see what you think. I thought it was fantastic. And Rick remind us that we have 30 tablets, and she said those software could be installed in the tablet, so we could bring to lecture and run one activity there, 15 minutes or so. That would be a nice way to break the lecture and not being so formal. So it's a good thing to think about it. Before I go, I think everybody received the agenda. The first item is results on the SLO assessments done during the first week of class. And I would like to report that I don't have results yet. I hope to run the Scantrons this afternoon, so I apologize for that. But since in the first week of class, supposedly no one knows anything, the idea is to report 30% of understanding, and I will redo this sometime last week of class, so the week before, submitted again those questions. Physics 2B and physical sciences, I don't have that.
Yeah, I
and somehow we have to figure something out. But I will go back to that subject later.
I can get you 2B questions as I go along. When I make up an exam, I'll set aside some questions for that unit. And so I'll have, what did they learn at the end of the semester?
Okay.
I'm too new to 2B to pull it together, to know in advance
what's going to be. Okay.
This is the second time I'm teaching 2B, and especially with a really good textbook, I'm really getting a hang on exactly what it is that 2B students need to know and walk away. Near the end of the semester, when I taught 2B from Survey, by the time I got to modern physics, that's when I had my click moment, my aha. This is really the level of what they needed. Up until then, I was doing a dumbed down physics 4B. And the students don't need that much math. They don't need that much detail. It's just not necessary. They need to know how, as complicated as it gets, they need to know why their Christmas lights don't work. And there's plenty of physics there.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of level that 2B students need.
Right.
But I was teaching them things that an electrician who's going to wire an auditorium needs. At least that's what I thought they needed.
If you could think of a series of questions that can map our SLOs and that can be reused in the folling semester, so then we have some standard.
Exactly,
at least to try again. As you know, we are trying to get a series of questions that map out all our SLOs, and then we can incorporate that into the final exam. Why we are trying to do that? Because it's just a way to not to make teaching uniform, because everyone has its own style, right? But basically to make sure that all of us that are teaching a given course, at the end of the semester, we want our students to be able to learn some subject, and so if you put in the final exam, so we guarantee that those issues are being taught, and that has to do with SLOs. Good. So I think we are good with that. And yes,
I mentioned a while at the beginning of the semester if it's okay to use clickers to assess the SLOs fairly quickly in the classroom. Is that still valid?
It is, but if you can use the clickers in the classroom to assess SLOs, but then it's not going to be a uniform SLO for all the other sections. Let's say if you are teaching there are 2 sections in the morning and 1 in the evening and 1 in the weekend. So you want them all use the same technology and the same system.
Mm-hmm.
So I would imagine for physical sciences there is only 1 section. I could see Jagruti using the clicker.
Mm-hmm.
But then if that is the truth, she's going to give a lecture, and that's what some people do. They give a lecture, they do the lab, and then they do an assessment, SLO assessment, and then you have students getting 89% or 9%. So you learn everything. And then you put any of those questions in the final exam, they don't know because it's all gone.
Right.
I mean, the answer to your question, yes, you can use, but then we have to change what we are trying to do, which is fine. I mean, I'm flexible to
Well,
make
I mean,
any change.
I think at the beginning of the semester, since they really don't know anything, you do the assessment before you provide any information of the coursework
Right.
yet. It'll be fairly quick, as opposed to having them sit down with a Scantron the first day.
I know you lose 1 hour for nothing because
Yeah.
they don't know anything. That's true. Yeah. I don't know.
Mm.
You could now with the clicker to do assessment. You bump into some issues with the DSP people.
Oh, yeah.
And in class, I kind of use because is everybody done?
Yes.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
But if you are doing an exam, if you want a time, it's complicated.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
See, I still don't understand the point of having an assessment at the beginning. I understand it in astronomy and in physics 2A or 4A because you kind of grow up with
You have some
you
background.
have some kind of
Yeah.
intuition, but
Like
with
the sun in the center of solar system.
Exactly. You kind of heard it once or twice. But when for 4B and 4C, that is not intuitive physics.
Well, that's the point, and that would save some time.
Yeah, and one thing
precious time that you could use to do
for
a review.
teaching or having worksheets or working in class with problems, because that's what I like to do.
Okay.
I like to lecture and then have worksheets for the students to work out the problem that we're just discussing. So the assessment at the beginning is just losing precious time for 4B and 4C or for physics 2B, because when we're talking about, and I call it non-PG&E electricity, because people walk in thinking it's PG&E electricity. And when we talk about electricity, it's not. And it takes me about 3 weeks to rewire their brains to think in terms of a physicist electricity and not a consumer electricity.
Mm-hmm.
So how about to eliminate these surveys for introphysics, Physics 12, Astro, and Astro 10L? Or does it keep
The initial survey? You're talking about the initial?
the initial
Yeah.
Scantron thing?
Okay.
So it keeps for Physics 2, Physics 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
2A, 4A.
I will
yeah.
rewrite this in
Yeah.
a better way.
But the modern physics stuff, the non-visible physics stuff,
Okay, got it.
Yeah, they may or may not know anything about it. Or,
it's not the way we see it.
Teaching, etc. Okay, cool. Now, update on program review. We, as you know, we submitted. Any other with SLOs? No. We went to. We submitted the program review, and we received a communication back from Lynette, and we have to do more improvements. Some of the figures need titles and captions, and there are specific questions on progress report that I have to go ahead and do it. So I hope to work this weekend, or if not next weekend, since I have a pile of things to correct and get it done. But it's doing chemistry is still working on it, and what we want to do is to submit physics and chemistry, physics, astronomy, and chemistry together, and make a case for some sort of the Space Technology Academy. Off, outside of the program review, Michael mentioned that he went to a meeting and the president said all kind of good things about the program we do, and then Michael said, why don't you guys go ahead and start inviting people again to the talks, if not every month, once every 2 months, which I told him was a good idea, but I would like to have some sort of official recognition from Evergreen on what we do, not to be something that if somehow a bomb falls in Evergreen and the academy never existed. So we need to have some sort of official connection. And then he said, well, let's work end of this month, beginning of April, to put some of your items in the budget. So that's the idea. That's what I have to report
So that
on
will legitimize STA.
That's what I'm looking for. There is a major exoplanet workshop going on in June, and Natalie was looking for places to send people to give a talk. So I kind of said, okay, Evergreen could be one, and I talked to people in College of San Mateo. That's going to be another one. But in June, we have something. It's going to be nice. I don't know if she's going to be the one talking, but could be somebody else. But independent on that, I think we have some unofficial support from the director, but I would like to have more recognition on that. Let's go to the books. Let's go to the fun part.
No OpenStax.
Okay.
Okay, I've got a beef when it comes to cheaping down the textbooks. I've gotten to a point now where I try to get a good textbook that doesn't cost a lot for the students, and to try to accommodate the costs of this. Since I have to pay for textbooks for my college student, it's expensive. I understand. However, I'm not going to go buy cheap makeup. I'm not going to buy a cheap car just to get me from place to place, because in the long run, it's not going to work completely. It's also an attitude. Well, I'm only good. The course has a cheap book, so it's a cheap course. The quality is cheap. It's a mental attitude. And if you require them to come up to, this is a bona fide textbook that many universities use, come up to, you say, okay, I'm using a real college textbook. I'm not using something that, somebody slapped together. And I've heard some comments that there are some mistakes in OpenStax. I don't want to look for the mistakes in the textbook. I've got enough to look at. And maybe it's because I'm so squeezed with my schedule. I want something ready to use that's good, that's reliable. Now, I've had to use Survey in the Physics 2 series, and I hated it from the moment I opened up the first 10 pages. It confused me. I couldn't understand what he was talking about, so I couldn't imagine how a student. And then he had a picture about a galaxy, and it was all wrong, the caption. And that turned me off immediately. Like, if you have that in the first 10 pages of your textbook and you can't even get that straight, what else is wrong in this? And then when I did the electricity with it, it was so hard to learn from it. And I already went through E&M 3 or 4 times in life, and I couldn't understand it. So I was lamenting to my office mate, and he goes, try this book. And he gave me the instructors, I forgot what it's called, but it's kind of an instructors that he wrote, ways to teach college physics. And I randomly opened it up to electrostatics, and there was a list of topics. And I'm reading, and I go, my students don't know this. They're not sure, that they have a wrong concept. And it was almost all of the topics in that list. Then I went back and read the paragraph. And what he did was list everything that he has found and that the PhD physics researchers have found. No, the PhD educating physicists have found that students really don't understand. at that point I said, and he has solutions to how to work that. So when I read it and I put it into practice at the end of it, it was right. So, I talked to the publisher, and the publisher gave me 4 different textbooks. This one, Walker, 3 different textbooks. Walker, I forgot what the author is, but they're from Rutgers. And it was also a flipped classroom kind of a book with a workbook. And then I did Friedman, the one that we're using for 2A here. And when I compared the books, it was interesting reading. So I had the students. Well, it wasn't easy getting this book through the department at State. But they came through, we're using it. And the students are actually reading the book. And they're questioning. The questions are kind of build-up questions. It's just an all-around decent book.
Okay. Just for the record,
Yes.
because they can't see it.
Yeah.
Is there a camera?
It's College Physics, Knight, Jones, and Field. Now, Knight is a professor at Cal Poly that has taught this course for 20 years. So this is a culmination of all his work. Now, I've talked to other people that in the department.
So it has the whole thing, right?
This book has the whole thing, from
So how is
2A and
mechanics?
2B.
How is mechanics?
I haven't really looked at the mechanics. I will be, because I'll be teaching this in the summer at State. But if he could do E&M right, I can only imagine that he's doing mechanics pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes in from conceptual first, and oh, by the way, here's the arithmetic. And that's really what we're trying to do,
Sure. That's always a good place to
a good
start.
approach.
Mhm.
Now, in a way to compare with Friedman, how do you compare this book with Friedman? Oh, you don't know
Oh,
mechanics.
no. This, part 1, the mechanics here and mechanics of Friedman, they're okay. They're kind of comparable.
Comparable.
Yeah,
comparable.
but not E&M, not the modern part. I didn't realize how much Friedman goes into arithmetic heavy, really arithmetic heavy. He does not. And there's a lot of concepts, there's a lot of building up, especially the electricity and the magnetism. Kirchhoff's law finally makes sense to me after reading him. And makes sense to me from a physics point of view,
I'll
not
get
from a
copy of that book, too,
mathematical.
then.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah,
need copies. And I got on a USB the instructor's reference manual for it, so you could have it. You could copy it
So
onto your
this
machine.
is which company is this? This is
Pearson.
Pearson.
Yeah.
Okay.
And uses mastering physics.
You should. Oh, and probably WebAssign too.
It could use WebAssign.
Could use
It could
WebAssign,
use
yeah.
WebAssign.
You show me some videos.
The videos
The
that come
videos
with
are
it from this
from
book.
the same book.
Yeah, I think it's this guy Jones. He's
Oh,
in
Jones.
Colorado,
Okay.
and he's developed some. And if you read the instructor's manual,
Mm.
he actually spells out how to space out all the lectures. Spend 3 lectures on this, spend 2 lectures on this, you could skip this. So he gives you a roadmap even, not that I pay attention to it, but he
Right.
gives you a roadmap on what to teach and what to emphasize. Like, he doesn't really mention Gauss's law, but he works Gauss's law,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, Gauss's law in 2B is
Uh,
it's way.
Yeah, you
way
mention
over there.
Gauss's law to them, but if you describe what it is that you're trying to do, and which he does,
Without
and
using the math part.
without using the math part, just general, if a water pipe is spraying water out, and you want to collect it,
Mhm.
how are you going to do it?
Right.
You try to do that with Survey or even Friedman. Friedman goes right into Gauss's law,
Mhm.
and that's it. It's really painful.
So is there an equivalent that you would recommend for the Physics 4 series?
Well, he's got a university version of it.
How is that?
I don't know, but I know that my office mate at State taught,
Oh,
funny as it
right.
is, at Evergreen, but
Mhm.
it's in Oregon or Washington.
Oh, is
It's
an
a-
evergreen up there?
It's a
Okay.
a state college system too, but they're called Evergreen.
Okay.
And I think he used Knight University.
Cutnell and
Yeah,
Cardinal.
yeah. This
I'm trying to see if WebAssign has it. So WebAssign has Bauer, Shabai, Cole, Vincent Coletta, Tom Shu, Karen Cummings, Cutnell,
Mm.
Michael De Antonio, Andrew Duffy, Eugenia,
No.
Freeman, John Batista, which is good. I like John Batista, another John Batista.
The university physics, the Young and Friedman. I know the examples in that textbook have a Q, I guess it's called a QP or QR, scanning code next to the thing.
I think this guy has.
Okay.
And
they all, yeah.
See?
Good. So I noticed this at the beginning of the semester. It's like, okay, let me see what that does. And so I downloaded it onto my phone, the code thing. And it takes you to a URL, which shows you a person explaining the example in a video. And so it's
that's
remarkable,
very cool.
you know?
Yeah.
And I told those students that it's like, this is, for you, for your reference, in
Right.
case.
This
in
also
case you
comes
don't.
with a workbook.
Okay.
That is included. Oh,
Yeah.
that's very nice.
And the book rep told me that when you buy the textbook, this is just packaged in for free.
Wow.
But you cannot use in class probably, because not everybody will have it, since people.
But if it's bundled with it for free.
But it's
then-
bundled for
If
free.
it's bundled for no. I mean, if somebody buys the book, they will have for free, but not for the entire class because not everybody buy the book.
Yeah, but you could probably
You can
take
play around.
portions of it on the board and have the students work on the board.
I wonder if I can.
I thought he does WebAssign.
Conceptual physics, modern physics. No, should be conceptual physics. No, high school physics.
See, 5 Easy
College.
Lessons, this book
That's
from Knight. And this is what he did was consolidate what the PhD education in physics, what they found from their research, what
Mhm.
students really don't understand. And I have found every single chapter, he's on the mark. He knows what he's doing.
okay.
So then you are making a case for this book. I made a case for OpenStax because of price, and the fact that now we can buy a book, which costs $50.
What is this?
This has the instructors.
Oh, it is in WebAssign.
It doesn't.
Knight, Bryan,
Okay.
and Stewart's. No,
I can't connect it. I don't know.
Bryan and Field. Wait a second.
This is it's got the lightning thing, so
I don't understand.
he can.
The copy is this. The cover is the same,
Oh, okay.
but it's Knight, Bryan.
Yeah, Knight Jones.
Alert
okay.
from System UI
You
server.
be quiet.
You need battery.
And Field. Who is Field?
Field.
Oh, there's Stuart Field. Yeah. So let me get the cable. So I'm not religiously
Okay,
attached to.
I'm perfectly fine.
And if everybody were okay, I would go for, because I think book is fundamental, but not all students go there.
Yeah.
And price might be an issue.
Well,
But at the same time, somebody can come to me and say, hey, why are you making all this fuss when if you look at all your students, their cell phone is much better than yours. So money might not be an issue
right. Where
if
is
it's something important, and especially when you open your case with a makeup.
Yeah.
So I don't have a lot of issue here.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And I know you are very very much.
I've researched it out. I've compared books.
You are a knight. You have an armor.
I do. I mean, I want these students. A part of it is from my background of going to CCNY in New York. It was I went to college for free. It was City of New York that funded it all. There's 2 hills in Manhattan. City College is on one, Columbia is on the other. 125th Street, Harlem was right smack in the middle. And I wanted to know that I had just as good of an education as the ones from Columbia. And, once we found out that, and I didn't know it at the time, but in hindsight, I realized I did get as good an education. They use the same textbooks. I'm as good as any. I want to send them a message that I'm as good as anybody else in the Bay Area, going to Santa Cruz, to Berkeley.
Right,
I
right.
have those same opportunities.
Right.
That I'm stuck having to go to a community college for whatever reason. This is my second chance school. I can make the best of everything.
Right. So looking at the books, one disadvantage that I see in OpenStax, with respect to even Norton, the
Yeah.
lady who came here today, is the lack of is the lack of a lot of online supporting material. For instance, now I'm piloting the OpenStax astronomy. So as far as the content goes, is pretty much fine.
Mhm.
And they did an update. It has the modern telescope. James Webb is there. But it doesn't have a lot of online support.
Mhm.
It does link you to FET Colorado, to Compadre, to the Astronomy Labs NAAP.
Oh, okay.
So it does make the link. So if you go through the book online, you can have all these resources. So for that matter, would be fine too. But at the same time, when you see the development these companies do on improving learning, and they can't beat, right? So I mean, this video game associated with Adam's book, I think it's fantastic.
It's
a very
fantastic.
good thing to do. So at the same time, 2 days ago, I learned that Evergreen Community College District is trying to come up with a free tuition and free books for 500 students needed. So if this come to be true, so the issue of making books available in the free market might not be an issue. So I don't know. I'm pretty much open. I would say I used the OpenStax College Physics for a year and a half. It was fine. The only complaint that I heard was that, I prefer to read the book in paper. And then I thought, okay, now that we have the book on paper, that might not be an issue.
Okay.
But you make a strong case for a book that has a lot of online support.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I hear that, and
the clicker questions that he has, I'll show you the PowerPoints that he has on
and he
it.
has clicker questions.
He has clicker
Yeah,
questions.
the
He has test
OpenStax
questions.
don't have clicker questions.
He has clicker questions,
It
text.
has, and for astronomy and not for physics. The physics books have OpenStax, has WebAssign questions, but the new physics 4A series doesn't have WebAssign yet, or Mastering Physics. And Frankenoy's book don't have WebAssign questions yet. So you have to create your own questions. So I don't know. So the way it goes, yesterday I was talking to Paul, and Paul seems to be happy with the use. You're going to be using, you prefer to be using the current.
Well, I mean, because the students are carrying over from 4A, 4B to 4C next semester, it wouldn't be, I wouldn't feel right changing the textbook on them and saying, you're going to have to go and get a different book now.
Yeah.
So I was going to change to OpenStax now on the 4A, but start the semester and I didn't. I said, okay, I would try at least one book, and that was the astronomy. and take me some time because I have to adapt the online course to it and make sure the students have material now that I'm teaching the face-to-face. It has some extra work. So I didn't pilot the physics book, which I would like. I look at the physics book, the 4 series seems to be good. And in fact, I took some problems and I gave in class, and it's a good
Okay.
development. So I don't have a problem there. But again, I didn't see a lot of online support associated with the book. So if I had proposed OpenStax and no one had said anything, I would go OpenStax, and I wouldn't be you would have a problem with that. But I heard that you are a defensive, a person that is defending a lot the
Well,
use
I
of a
looked
book.
at the Physics 2 OpenStax, and it was too similar to Survey. It didn't have that flipped classroom feel. I didn't feel that it had, not like this. And having dealt with Physics 2 students now for a while, having them think like a physicist is very painful for them. And they really want to understand things. A physics major, an engineering major, just give me the formula, I'll just do the problem, don't worry about it. I'll figure out what it means mathematically. But Physics 2 students don't think like that. They have a different way of thinking.
So then we make a case for college physics,
Mm-hmm.
and that would be 2A and 2B
Yeah.
because it's complicated when you break the book apart. And that is Knight, Jones, and Field. And which edition this is?
Third.
That's the third
The
edition.
third edition. And I think it just recently came out, so you could get it used probably by next fall. You could always rent it. I saw a lot of students at State renting it.
Mm.
You could also get the online e-tech, the ebook.
For the ebook online.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So for the 4 series, we keep the same. What do you guys think? What do you think, Rick? So
I'd like to keep it the same because only just for my own personal view, just to make sure that the students have the same book for 4C.
and we have this book since
But the
2003.
next cycle around, I'm open to change it.
Right.
We go to OpenStax, but you make it an
Start it.
argument
Yeah.
for Knight in the university physics. That might be kind of something.
The support. I'll show you
The
the support.
this 4 series, the book seems to have a lot of material that we don't cover in class, and any change in the future could. I could see us changing the book, but the book is a good one. Young and Friedman is a good book. Okay, so astronomy.
The argument also for keeping Young and Friedman, almost every university in the Bay Area
has
uses it.
and Cornell has too.
So the whole concept of, again, uniformity, you're getting the same education here as you would any place else. So don't start looking like it. And then they have the language so that they transfer up to their upper level courses. They have that same thing.
So whatever happened to the Halliday Resnick series? Or that's what I went through when I was at State. And what was the other book? The University Physics with a white cover. Sears Zemansky.
Sears and Zemansky is Friedman and Young.
Oh, it is?
It is. It's a reworked, because I did Sears and Zemansky.
Okay.
And that is a reworked. Friedman and Young is a rework of Sears and Zemansky. Look at the first page, in the introduction.
Really?
That
Okay.
is a base, it's
Okay.
Sears and Zemansky. Halliday and Resnick was always MIT East Coast, from what I heard. It was always, Cornell did that, MIT did it, RPI, some of the highly technical schools.
And San Jose State accepted that for a while, too.
And they probably did it because the teacher came from those schools, I
okay.
bet.
Okay.
So they were
So it's no
familiar
longer
with
being
the
used
book
over there,
loyalty. It's Sears and Zemansky, Friedman and Young.
Over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know Friedman and Young is also at Berkeley. I think at Santa Cruz, for the most part.
And astronomy. So we have access to a video game in case we use and adopt one of their books. It could be either Understanding Our Universe or could be Adam. I read Adam's book and I really like the style. It gives a small introduction to the subject, and I read a couple of chapters. I think it was on stellar evolution, I think.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
what it does, it gives the introduction to the subject. It doesn't go in a lot of information and detail. And then he interview somebody that works in the field. And when he does the interview, all the questions that you want to pass to the students kind of are in the conversation,
Mhm.
as if you were reading an article or something. So I thought it was fantastic. Was a very good idea.
Hmm.
But at the same time, from Jagruti Vedamati, she's teaching astronomy first time, and she said, "Well, I like the book because it was easy for me. I just got the online package and I upload to Canvas." So she has a course pretty much done
Which
with
which
online,
book?
with everything,
Which-
with understanding our
Yeah.
universe.
Oh yeah, the support from understanding.
It's very good.
It's
You don't have free unless in the first edition you can get everything free,
Yes.
but the second you don't have anymore. But you still have access to quizzes and all of that from the first edition,
Yeah.
and I put that link in my
so do
online.
I. So do
Yeah.
I use that.
So I don't know. We can keep. I'm using OpenStax this spring. It's okay, but it doesn't have the online support that I think would make the life of some of us easier. Like especially Jagruti, she was pretty much happy to just
Yeah, it's easy
the courses
to
there.
yeah, it's easy to modify someone else's PowerPoint because the PowerPoints coming from the publishers are a nice flow that follows the textbook.
Right.
You could always, edit it
Right.
and make it yours, but at least you have something to start with.
Right.
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 And then the students can follow the flow with the book. One thing I find very refreshing here at Evergreen, I never saw it before. Students bring their textbook and they have it opened while you're lecturing. And they're following. And they're writing in the margins.
Mm-hmm.
And I never saw that.
And some of them have their laptops open. They have their
Oh,
books
yeah, they
there.
do,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find it. That's why I like loose leaf versions of it, because then you could just bring the chapter, and then you're working. I learned that from your
Yeah,
son.
Dimitri. Yeah.
Yeah, Dimitri turned me over to a complete convert to loose leaf books. They're a little cheaper.
Mm.
You'll never be able to sell it to somebody else.
Oh,
So there's
yeah,
no
the
resale.
Resale value's not
Yeah,
there.
there is no.
But you really work your textbook for what it's supposed to do.
So, anything else with books? So then we are done with the books. And physical sciences, I haven't talked to Jagruti, but I think we're going to be using the same book as we always do.
Physics 1 is still.
Physics one is
Hewitt?
Hewitt, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that okay, right?
That's fine with me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Oh,
Is any other textbook allowed in the universe? I thought Hewitt was the only textbook you're allowed to use.
There
It's very
was
well
one
done.
that I used way back when, and it actually had math in it. A lot more math than what Physics 1 is supposed to be. And so I said, San Jose State's using Hewitt.
Yeah.
And I've met Hewitt. He's a great man.
Yeah.
I said, let's just move to Hewitt.
Yeah.
It's a lot
Yeah.
easier.
So physics 7A, 7B, 7C. The idea is in part because now we are guided to create transfer degrees, and now the computer science science department want to create a transfer degree, and they have a problem with the fact that we have lots of credit units in the physics course. There are 15 credits if you take our physics 4A series. And in some colleges I check, they require only 4 credits, which means 3 hours of lecture, 3 hours of lab per week. And that is the norm in some CSUs. And if you go to the CID descriptor, they recommend 4 credits and 3 hours of lectures, 3 hours of lab. So I started working on the course outline for a 7A, 7B, 7C course. So I'm still in the middle of 7A, done with the second SLO. I have to go 3 others, but I hope to be done this month. And then the other one should follow. And the idea is to submit this before Michael retires. So that's the idea.
That's a lot of work.
And then send it there.
So what's the difference between Physics 7 and Physics 4?
1 unit less.
Is in terms of course content, that should be none.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no difference. Yeah.
I would like to stop taping now to talk about, although, I mean, we are
gotta
internal.
finish, yeah.
So
It's a unit bloat, basically. That's bloated in terms of the number of units.
in reality, what happened is we teach the same thing,
Yeah.
right? So when you see courses, especially those offered in the summer, like City College, and that's why City College offer this 4 series in the summer, and it's a joke. I mean, no, they don't teach the whole detail, and all of that is required. We start offering 4 hours a week because of UC. If you go to UC, UC has 3 hours of lecture per week and 1 hour, which they call tutoring hour or computer development, or so it's pretty much taught by TA, which is mentoring thing. So we kind of don't need that. So the lecture is 3 hours. So that's what we want to do.
Got it.
So CSU is 3 hours. So and since the AST transfer is for CSU, so then we should do this. Now it might create some problem with UC, and then we have to analyze and see what our options are. One thing that I was talking to Michael, and he was happy with that, is why don't we create 1 credit unit course that is offered once a year, and that's for the UC students, and has a math support for those students, and we have one every, let's say, or make it 2 credits or 3 credits 1 semester offer, and that is math for physicists or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you take once, and then you are done, and then
The
you would
math
satisfy.
methods over at State.
I think that math methods at State is
It's a graduate course.
it's a upper level course. No, Fourier analysis, matrices, linear. What happened there was you have to have DiffyQ
Mhm.
from the math department, but the linear analysis was overkill and it was very theoretical. What physicists don't really need. Remember?
And don't care.
Yeah, and then they never really covered. Turned out that they never really did Green's theorem.
Yep.
A lot of students were really saying, well, when you go into E&M, you need Green's theorem, and no one ever talked about it. So they said, okay, we'll do it our way now. So there's Physics 40 and 140 that does the computational. There's a computational doing physics.
Right. Remember Garcia teaching that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And now there's also a separate course, Math Methods, where it's big boy math for.
Including Green's theorem and all that.
Oh
other stuff.
gosh, yeah,
Yeah.
everything.
I wish I would have taken that before I took 210.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
that's
hurt
the whole
so
point.
much with
Yes,
not
it
knowing
does.
that.
It
Yeah.
does. Yeah, if you go into Jackson without Green's theorem,
And trying
You're-
to pass.
no, you won't pass.
The Bible?
I did. I
Yeah,
passed.
because
I had
you-
to work really hard
Yes.
at learning all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. The Bible.
The Bible.
Jackson, yeah.
Yeah,
The
so-
last edition I got of that book, he started, this book is better than ever.
Not really.
Oh, Lord.
Just thicker.
Thicker
It was
than
just
ever.
thicker.
It's just thicker, more pages.
Right.
I didn't know that it was a DiffyQ. I didn't know that E&M then was a DiffyQ basically course with different boundary and initial conditions.
Mhm.
That's all it is. And then when I was teaching 140, I realized that all the tricks in Jackson, that if they had computational physics at the time, Legendre functions, Bessel functions would have never been necessary. They're just cheat sheets. They're just easy tables. If you could have a computer, it'd be no problem because it's
I'm doing it without a computer.
yeah, and that's why they came up with those functions.
Mhm.
Clever guys.
So you're talking about a 1 unit
Well,
math
well,
oriented.
to satisfy, you see, I would have to offer 1 unit for 4A, 1 for 4B, and 1 for 4C. to keep things as it is, or perhaps think about a course 3 credit unit 1 semester, which
See,
would make
Can
But
it be
what would
done
be-
online? Just a 1 unit course online for those folks going to UC?
Uh, I don't see why not, except that in the DE at Evergreen, they don't want fully online courses unless you have them offer also face-to-face. So the online should be some option for the face-to-face course.
So it can't be completely online
It
course.
can't be, it could, but you have to have a face-to-face option. And then your online would be for students who can't come. Although they made a lot of changes in DE, I could see if if we could propose a course that is fully online and not needing the face-to-face. Why did you mention that?
Well, I just figured because teaching a 1 unit math class, it does take time and takes a lot of.
But see,
It's not so
my
much math, but physics, math or so.
what it would be is like kind of a workshop to do problems. And that's where it would benefit students. They would really want to
Because that's
take
what
that
it was
course.
originally at UC, right? That's,
That's exactly,
Yeah,
we used to
yeah.
call it recitation center, where you
Hmm.
go and do problems. So you learn, and once a week, for an hour and a half, you do problems. And that could be beneficial, 1 credit with each semester. So if you're taking 4A, you should also sign up for this workshop.
For this workshop.
So that, and then teaching, you work, and
Mhm.
it would even work better in person because it's almost like a private tutorial. You come in, how do I do this problem? Well, work it. Let's see where the problem is.
that's a good idea. I mean, that could be a.
So,
Just a
and
stand-
that could be
yeah.
the option for the ones that think, and then you'd probably get some of the other people.
Yeah, the ones that are going
Right,
to San
but
Jose,
I'm
they
I'm
take that
thinking how
anyways.
to make this legal, in the sense that would be, I mean, who's going to be teaching? It has to be paid for, and that can't
Is
be part of the tutoring center. It has to be
No,
something
it has to be
apart.
the faculty.
So faculty has to be paid to do that, and that has to be part of some course outline
Mhm.
that has to be approved and submitted,
Oh.
articulated with CSU. So,
Because CSU doesn't have anything like that.
articulated with the UC, not the CSU.
Okay.
Yeah, no, CSU doesn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, but we have that. Physics 50 is a 4 credit course, or maybe even 5. Physics 50.
Is 50 a 5
Yeah, I
unit
think
class?
it is. It's almost 5. And they
But
have
which course is this?
Physics 4A.
Is the
The equivalent 4A at state
But
is
it's
5
4.
units?
I don't know if
No,
it's
it's
4 or
4.
5.
It's
Is it 4?
Yeah.
But you're supposed to sign up for a workshop with that.
How does the workshop go? What is
then
is the
what-
one that what's her name? Monica is the one that Monica. But it's for everyone. Is
Yeah.
required.
Yeah, they
Is-
require everyone in Physics 50 to take a workshop. I'm pretty sure. I'll ask her and I'll make sure I'll send you an email. Because what they do is they have now. What she's trying to do is turn the lab course into an extended lab and workshop, so you could do problems as well as experiments. Because some of the experiments in Physics 50 is just overkill. There's too many experiments. And 15 weeks of experiments. But the workshop,
I think that's so important.
yeah, I know. Yeah, the physics. Yeah, that's why they always had a separate hour for workshop.
Do they still
Yeah.
have the 70 series at state?
No.
Gone?
Yeah, gone. It didn't work out as well,
Okay.
especially with Louis Lamb teaching it. It was a disaster.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
All right. So I don't know. I
Hey.
don't have a clear idea of where to go. I know that's some CSU Sacramento. No, there is a community college that transferred to CSU Sacramento. That is exactly what I would like to do, and College of San Mateo has exactly what I would like this course to have. It's a 4 credit unit,
Just out of
and it's
curiosity,
going to teach the same thing what we already teach.
how many students transfer to UC versus transferring into CSU?
I don't have that number, but it's a small percentage. It's like 10%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
It's not a lot.
Which is different from the Anza and Foothill, where
Really?
most of the students there go to UC, and that's why you have the Anza with Physics 2A requiring Calculus 1.
Oh.
As a prereq. It's not even our intermediate algebra, so it's a different ballgame. So I don't know, but I will keep you guys informed if I have some done. At least I hope by next month to have 7A done.
And when are we implementing this series? When
So
does it
okay,
start?
let's say it's all done before Michael retire.
So we
that
start
goes.
instating 7A next semester, or is it have to
No,
go
no,
through
no, no. It goes to a
processing?
committee, and then it comes back to us, and then we fix here and there, and then let's say it's approved by the committee, and then it goes to articulation, and then articulation try to get approval from UC and CSU. This is for next year. So if they approve and the articulation is all good, and we get a CID number for this series, then we are good to go. I'm thinking it's fall next year if we are okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not gonna be for this year.
But Michael is leaving after this semester?
Yeah. Yep.
It's too bad.
Yeah, I like them.
Well, he needs different air. He's fed up of Evergreen, I think. Sorry, Michael. All right, so astrophysics budget. I mean, Van is still working on it. So I know we have some money. I thought about the money we had would be enough to initiate a advanced physics lab, which is part of our STEM academy thing. But I was talking to Ben yesterday, and now we have, for instance, on Tuesday night and Thursday night, we have mechanics lab, we have physics for C lab, and we have astronomy lab, and we would like to have lab quests for all of them. So we don't have enough lab quests that can allow these 3 courses to go at the same time and with in a comfortable way. So we decided to buy lab quests and have at least 30 lab quests available. So probably the money we have is going to be used for equipment, and but I hope to have money for the advanced physics lab in the budget. So let's see how that goes. And Van has to give us a budget. So yeah. Any question regarding budget? You guys need equipment.
New telescope.
20 inch. I
20?
always submit whatever directly to Van. So
Okay.
those little things here and there that,
Yes.
that it'd be nice to have.
I talked to her about the protractor.
And what did she say?
Oh, she went there, she put it, and she's gonna order. Yeah,
Okay.
for all the
They're
tracks.
$25 a piece. So,
Yeah, that's a good, very good one.
just a little angle indicator with a string and
Yeah, it gives angle with the precision of
of what we have already. So
yeah,
it's a
and
lot
let it-
easier than trying
yeah.
to work with those digital things
and
that
sine
don't
and
quite work.
cosine that
Yeah.
will work fine. Lab doors I've been finding open,
Mhm.
and I think it's not the problem of all of us, but there is a problem going on in SA115 and SA111. When you get out of there and then you swipe your key and then you click, and then the door closed, it doesn't go all the way down.
Well, the door jamb falls. It's loose, and so it just goes plop like that as you're closing it. So sometimes it doesn't close.
It doesn't close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But so
you're
you have to
talking
push-
about the inner door.
Yeah.
No. Oh no.
yeah.
I'm done.
The one going into the hallway.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm
Yeah.
talking about the one that goes to the corridor.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a closure problem.
Yeah, so I think when the doors in the backs are open, you have some pressure things going on.
There.
I
Yeah.
know it doesn't put a
Needs
lot
more.
of pressure. Yeah, it needs a little bit of chunk there.
Mhm.
But while this is not resolved, just make sure when you sweep your key, you look in the door and make sure the door
yeah.
is closed. You close it.
There's another issue. the other doors, the ones that are going into the hallway here,
Yeah.
to the back
Yeah, yeah.
prep room. Van's assistant, not Aaron, but the guy, I forgot his name.
Thing, yeah.
Thing, yeah. I see him in 111 or one of the other classrooms, and he's patiently waiting for the door to open.
Yeah.
And
He does that.
yeah, he does that, and I don't think he has access to the back.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, so he's just sort of waiting for that to
Yeah.
happen. Then he goes in and does his work at that
Right,
point.
right.
I think we're supposed to close those doors after we're done, and if we do that, he
Yes.
has no access to get back there. So I don't know how that's
No.
going to work.
No, he
Whoa.
doesn't. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Automatic.
Timed.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
I didn't know either.
After
I
you-
always close it. I always put them up before
Yeah,
I
me too.
leave.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know if I should close the doors.
You should always lock the door,
Okay.
because Thane and Aaron are responsibility of Van and Rick in the morning or me in the morning.
Okay, so if they're
Um,
not, if you close the doors, then they're kind of out of luck if they
No,
can't get in.
they stay outside. And what Erin does, she goes to Michael,
Okay.
hires, and then she gets the key. She opens somehow, and then she goes back and
Okay,
gives it to him.
so it's not our responsibility to keep it open for them.
No.
Okay.
No.
Good to know.
It's Van's responsibility to be available from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, and in the afternoon from 3 to 6 or 7 or so,
Okay.
and allow them to go and work.
Any news about these? The boards.
Michael said he asked for money to replace all of that with real boards. It's in the making.
Yeah, it's getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
And I think I can't even reach up there. I think that's probably Paul up there. 'Cause
I
he's the
don't
tallest
know.
of us.
I don't know. Oh, and there is a mark there, the black one. It's horrendous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the cleaning crew at night. I think his name is Alex
Oh,
and
nice.
Alejandro. And when he goes through the board, when he has to spray it, and it was worse with the Office Depot markers. With Expo, it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
little easier.
Yeah, poor guy.
So the two of us would be washing afterwards. I couldn't
Oh, boy.
leave him alone
Well,
doing that.
Last semester, coming in first thing in the morning on Monday, and it looked like Picasso's Guernica on
Yes.
there. That's what it looked like. It was like, oh my gosh, I got to erase this before I even start the class.
They str-
Because there was their after weekend classes,
yeah,
and no
ooh.
one's around to help them
To clean
out,
up.
and there's no expo anything at that time. So this thing just got darker and darker and darker at
Oh.
that point. So
This classroom right over here, where there's a lot of math.
yeah,
Finally, I see some of the teachers just using that red camera.
I do that too. I don't
Really
write
good.
that much on the board anymore because it just makes no sense to,
Okay.
you're writing noise on top of noise.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
can't
yeah.
see it from the back row.
Right.
All right,
So, and we have item number 7,
magic number.
others. Anything? Rick?
Stonehenge. What's going on with Stonehenge?
It's coming along, and got to pick up paint and some plaster.
And we need to initiate that. I have to send an email to everyone
I
and
sent
say,
you the
okay, let's
pictures.
start it. I haven't done that yet.
Give them
Yeah.
a briefing. What's going on with that? Because I see it all the time, but some other people may not even know about it.
The
What that is.
Stonehenge project is one idea to engage. It's part of the STA, Space Technology Academy for residents. The idea is to get a few residents that would like to join us and study and build their own backyard Stonehenge. So Stonehenge implies configurations of moonrise and set in solstice, but also the moonrise and set, I think, in solstice. But there are several markers that you can play based on moon rising on when the moon is in the lunistice. There is a lunistice going on, which takes, instead of being 6 months apart, is 14 days apart. And that has been put it in place in the Stonehenge. Now the Stonehenge, if you look down, is kind of a rectangle, but that rectangle is proper for the place where it was built. So it seems that people went there to do that thing. So if you do in San Jose, it's going to be slightly different if you look from the top.
Yeah.
So there is a little research that would be to find out when the moon rises and sets, when it goes through luminescence or not, and mark these positions and build something similar. It's something fun, but I have to. I put myself to send email to people in Meetup, and I haven't done it yet. Rick has done everything. He has built a model. He has taken the picture. He has sent to everyone. I don't know how he finds time to do all of that. Perhaps because he always seems that he's not doing anything, but at the same time he's doing so many
I really-
things. It's amazing. And but I need to send that. And once we send, it's just to get together. And I thought we could get together on Friday after the lecture here and see how we go. Since during the week we are all crazy.
So it's going to be a scaled up model of what he has. And
Yeah.
Yes.
be
little
built
larger.
somewhere.
And we would like to build that outside. Yes.
And
Yes.
this is a temporary structure, not a permanent structure.
We would like to have a planetarium.
That's a different issue.
I know.
No, but you
But-
have a complex.
And then we have a
Stonehenge
complex.
By the planetarium.
Yes.
Planetarium. And then you have a bunch of interested middle school and high school saying, wow, what cool thing is this? Science is so exciting.
I would like the pyramid for Chichen Itza
And
built.
there you go. Yeah, we can do it all. We are smart.
If we could get the Hispanic Mexican group
Involved.
involved.
Oh, yeah. And then you
yeah.
have the cultural
Yeah.
connection there to the
enlace it.
Mayans and the
Just
yeah.
no sacrifices.
No.
No.
We'll have a luau or something.
With music, we have a musician among us. So,
But yeah,
It's,
It'd
well,
be
if
nice-
you go with the drum,
well,
we have
it
to have
would-
sacrifices.
down in was the Incan Machu Picchu.
Yeah.
They have the festival there every like the first day of winter or something like that.
Okay.
They have that. So it'd be nice to reproduce that ceremony in the northern hemisphere somehow.
Well, we could do the winter solstice and the summer solstice.
Yeah.
Have the hippie dippies come and do their tambourine.
We're trying to remain authentic somehow.
Also, the C14, the Sky software works on it now.
Oh, could you give us a report on it?
I went to work on the laptop up there, and all the PCs up there were upgraded to Windows 10. And what happened is the drivers in Windows 10 does not recognize the older style USB serial cable. So I had to go download the newer drivers made by a company that makes it universal for everything. I installed it on the laptop there, and now you can guide that.
It's able to communicate
Right.
really well. Okay.
And today I tested the Dome software. It has Windows 10 in it, and it does communicate because I think that has a newer cable in there. So I was able to go to Venus and the sun, and it works.
That's
So now we could use we don't even have to use that black keypad anymore. We could use
the computer just type it in.
Computer.
Ooh.
And we try to use the telescopes, the new telescopes in the class, but the weather is not helping.
Yeah.
So we have
no
to wait.
cooperation.
No cooperation. Yeah. Okay, and that's it.